Hello and welcome to our August monthly consciousness update. So this one is today 8/8 the Lion's Gate. And what that is the this 8/8, this stellar portal happens in the zodiac sign of Leo. So it's always been called the Lion's Gate. Now, this time of the summer in the Northern Hemisphere has always been honored by ancient civilizations as a time when Sirius, the star Sirius, rises with the sun at the same time as the sun. Just 2 weeks ago, on July 25th, was the day out of time, which the ancient cultures used to reconcile the lunar and the solar calendars. So this is really a time where time changes. And our topic today is really jumping timelines. So this is a time really of the connection to Sirius, which also is connected to the lions. There are some myths that the lions, the Sphinx, originally started from Sirius. I think that's a fascinating story. And that the Sphinxes on Earth, because there's more than just the one at Giza, almost always guard Akashic records or ancient records. So it's a time of opening timelines, opening the past, connecting to this portal. And this is that we have portals on Earth that are Earth-based portals or space portals, like Titicaca, Machu Picchu, the pyramids, right? They're on Earth. And then we have time portals. So today is a time portal. And the time portals are a little more fluid. Right now they're stamped, a time portal is the equinox or the solstice or when there's a lunar eclipse or a solar eclipse. But we're moving into an opportunity where time portals are much more fluid and they are responding to consciousness. So from now till the end of the year, we are in an extremely accelerated time. What does that mean? Everything seems like it goes faster. Back in 2012, when I asked White Eagle, when is the next great leap after 2012? He said it would be 2022. Well, this is the leap time of the leap year, starting now really through the end of the year through middle of January. So I have this graphic, my homemade graphics of what it feels like, because the Earth seems like it's speeding up and heaven, the higher dimensions, are really our frequency, and the heavenly frequencies or the higher dimensional frequencies are getting closer together. So we have like the Earth frequencies spinning in a vortex, the heavenly frequencies spinning in a vortex, and it creates this tight circling here where we have the higher dimensions and the lower dimensions together in this tight vortex, this gooseneck. That's really where we are now. And it feels like we're in the washing machine during the spin cycle. So, but before I talk about jumping timelines and really what I've learned about this opportunity right now, I want to have you understand that we have our existence in and out of time. Our 3D self exists in time, and our consciousness, our spiritual self, exists outside of time. So we already have both those experiences, but the out of time part of us is coming more and more and having more of an effect on the in time or 3D part of us. That's what's happening in this rapid acceleration that's going to just keep going for the next several months. Let me talk about the vision quest that I did, 4 days of fasting only on water during the time preceding the day out of time. So the end of July, I was on Lakota Peak in South Dakota, which is a sacred mountain where the Lakota people did their sun dances. And there's actually a monument of stones that the sun dancers, once they completed it, they would lay a stone on this tower, a flat stone. So I'll just tell you what I learned as I was laying in my tent day after day. Is the first day I was really trying so hard to make the best of the opportunity, right? I'm fasting, I'm on this mountain to send light to the whole world, to send healing to everyone. And it was a lot of work. I was trying too hard. So I just asked for some understanding or for some help, because I knew this isn't the way to do it. So a guide shows up. I couldn't see her, but she said, I'm taking you on a trip. And I find that I'm floating away from Earth. I see Earth like the astronauts see Earth, this blue sphere. And I say to the guide I can't see, I say, are we leaving the solar system? And she said, no, we're going to Venus. Actually, now I know the guide's probably 𝗹𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗍𝗶𝗏 because she came earlier that day. Anyway, I just thought of that. So we went to Venus, and there were 3 places we stopped, but I'm going to talk about 2 of them. The first place she took me was a healing temple. And this is so that I could be healed, but so I could understand what is the frequency of healing, where it's not pushing out light, trying to radiate, trying to send. And I felt this golden light, which is the light of, like the sun, that radiates. This is the light that's in time. It's light that travels at the speed of light from here to there. So it is part of our time 3D world. But then as I stayed in that golden light in this healing temple, underneath that, there was another kind of light. And my guide Mark has discussed it. It's a pure white light. It's still. It doesn't radiate. It doesn't go from one place. It doesn't come from anywhere else. You don't send it. It is the light of pure being. When you can find that light and just be this pure white light or this pure God consciousness, you are outside of time. And the trick with moving timelines is you don't do it from within the timelines. You leave time, you go to this white, clear space, and that unhooks you from a timeline. So then when you return into time, you can return at a very different place, and not one that you choose from being in time. You just have to trust that you're going to land at a different place. Now, it'll look the same, but the feelings will be different. So the other place I went after the healing temple on Venus was I asked to go to the temple of the priestesses. And to me, Venus looks like all these Grecian temples. And it's, when I got there, the head priestess apologized. She says, well, I'm sorry, there's usually more priestesses here, but they've all been deployed to Earth now. And I just grinned because I'm so thrilled that these priestesses are deployed to Earth. They are us. They are us awakening, and we're deployed on Earth. So I thought that was wonderful. So the focus that I learned from this exercise in my vision quest is to be not just in that radiant, sending, prayerful light, but in the light of being, this white light of being. And it really is the time now with this portal of 8/8 to reclaim who you are, what you want, say yes to upgrades, say yes to the lessons that come with them. So it's really a time of opening and accepting. I notice how often I say time. So the other thing I noticed on my vision quest was the eagles that were there. There's a pair of nesting golden eagles and their young one. And they take off in the currents in the morning on the side of the mountain. And as I watched them from my sleeping bag, I noticed that they don't have any effort. You know, they move a feather up this way and they turn their bodies a little bit, that they are soaring and soaring without any effort. And I thought that was really a beautiful lesson from trying too hard, is they find the place of uplift, and just with a little tweaks, a little maneuvering, and they ride it. So the lesson for us is to ask yourself, what uplifts you? You know, what thoughts, what activities, what people uplift you? And really find those, and then you ride the currents to the higher places. And that also invites you to be more conscious, to move away from those downdrafts, which don't lift you in soaring at all, but take you into self-criticism or judgment of others or victimhood or whatever. So be very clear every day, every moment. Are you looking for an updraft, or have you let yourself go into a downdraft? So after the 4 days on Lakota Peak, what traditionally I do is go with my friend and mystic Brad Johnson from Lakota Peak. He's actually camping on Grandfather Peak while I'm on Grandmother Peak. And we drive to Wyoming to Devil's Tower. Now, Devil's Tower is a basalt column that is sacred to 20 different tribes. It's thought to connect. Some of the tribes say it connects to the Big Dipper. Some say it connects to the Pleiades. Some say it connects to Sirius. So it's a huge basalt column. And as we, actually, even before we got there, my guide Mark started channeling about time. And he said, we are moving from an experience of horizontal time to an experience of vertical time. So it's an upliftment of time, just like Devil's Tower, or I call it 𝗵𝘀𝘀𝘃𝗵𝘀, which means bear lodge, which isn't so devilish. Is that basalt column was an uplift, a volcanic uplift from the center of the earth. And if you can see on the pictures of this, there's fractures, there's vertical fractures all along this tower as the basalt crystallized and then fractured in 6-pointed crystalline pieces. So what Mark said is to look at the tower, it's as if we've been in horizontal time. And he said, now there's an upliftment of time, as if time itself is ascending. So his exact words that I channeled, vertical time is something very different. It is time that itself ascends, rather than ascension taking place along the baseline of a stable horizontal time. Said ascension is therefore multiplied. Time itself is, and then he went on, and a lot of this was hard to really understand. But he said, our experiences of progression or ascension are based on, I was here, now I'm here. But if there's vertical timelines, then time itself is ascending. So you've got the speed of us moving from here to here on the horizontal plane, but then if the whole plane, the whole vertical plane is ascending, it's multiplied. So the acceleration of opportunity for spiritual growth, for massive positive change on earth is really happening. Mark went on to say that time itself is a construct of consciousness. All right, so we create, whether it's linear time or this quantum time. He said, therefore, at different levels of consciousness, you have different perspectives of time. So what I'd like to remind us all is that if we can be in this quantum consciousness, these higher realms, then our viewpoint of time, our perspective of time breaks off the linear, which means cause and effect. we have to do this before we can get this, into this quantum time where the effect causes the cause, where everything is different. So the opportunities really in this time, is manifestation is happening much faster. So be very careful in keeping your thoughts clear, because a negative thought's going to manifest quickly. A positive thought's going to manifest quickly. So you need to be a very careful watchdog of where you let your mind travel. You know, what you watch on TV, what you watch on YouTube. If it makes you angry, the manifestation of your anger is going to show up in a way that you hadn't intended. So synchronicity is amped up, like I showed you in that picture of the spirals. So the opportunities for miraculous connections are quickened because everything's pressed together rather than in these broad cycles of spinning time. Feedback from the universe, from your thoughts and intentions, is very rapid, which is another way to say manifestation is faster. So watch for what feedback you're getting, because it is a direct indication of what thoughts you were just holding. Also, spiritual support is closer. Your guides are closer. Your higher self is closer. You are closer to your own higher dimensions. Change is faster and more miraculous because of the input. It's not just the speed of change that is impacting us now with these changing timelines. It's that the speed of change and the fact that heaven or the higher dimensions is coming more into our world. Both of these worlds are merging more and more. So the miraculous in the positive way of unanticipated positive outcomes is happening. The other thing I learn continually, so I guess I don't learn it very well, is it's especially important to give up control. You can't figure everything out, you know, and I was spending 4 days sitting on this mountain. I thought, oh, I should figure out everything. It doesn't work, because the part of you that figures it all out and plans it out, etc., is the controlling small part of you. So you may find that the control you have is either wrested from you, taken from you, or you just release some of the burdens to the outpouring, the upliftment of what's happening now. And with this, like Mark talking about the vertical timelines, the uplifting of time itself, the ascension of time itself. This morning in my meditation, I often see things and I'm trying to think, what is that? So this morning I saw what looked like cable cars or ski gondolas or freight trains, or not freight trains, passenger trains. And they were going like straight up, and they were all full of a lot of young people, younger than me, right? And I'm thinking, what in the world is this? These trains going up of young people. And as I was preparing for this, I go, oh, okay, that's that the younger generations already get this vertical or ascending time. They were born knowing that this is the time they were coming in. So they're just floating up. They're doing great here. So listen to the young ones. Just to say a little bit more about the vision quest and then the time at Devil's Tower. Last year, at Devil's Tower, I had the greatest vision of my life, and that was really seeing it, this convocation of elders of every tribe, every clan, every nation, every people from the beginning of mankind, all dressed ceremonially, looking at us. And then last year, I saw these star beings also come into this convocation. This time, of course, I wanted to see that, but I saw it and it wasn't quite so clear, but I saw Chief White Eagle with his staff, And beside him was a woman who was staring at me in my tent in the Vision Quest all the time on Lakota Peak. This woman was staring at me. She had black hair and bangs, kind of like Chinese or Egyptian style. And she was there next to Chief White Eagle at Devil's Tower. And I finally looked at her and saw that she was Egyptian. I don't know her, but she had her hands out and she presented me with a papyrus scroll. So there will be some time in the future when I'm directed to open that scroll. But I love the synchronicity of the Egyptian the Egyptian woman presenting this scroll at this time of the 8/8 gate, Lion's Gate. So today is a time portal. And as I said, there's earth portals and there's time portals. And what I'd like to do now is well, actually, let me make a couple of announcements, and then I'm going to end with a transmission. So the announcements are, because so much is happening quickly, and I haven't been able to keep up in terms of getting everything up on my website, but on August 15th, my next MARC class, which is called Multidimensional Healing, will begin. And if you've never done a MARC class, it's 8 weeks on Monday afternoon for those of you in the United States, Monday evening for those of you in Europe. And the first 8 classes is multidimensional healing of the mind. And MARC will use this timeline change and the accelerated time we are in now to really help us heal our mind, our mental constructs. The second 8-week class is body, as you can imagine, and the last 8-week class is spirit. And this is all multidimensional healing. It'll be up on my website by the end of the week, and it will start on Monday. The other thing we're doing is a trilogy of activations, and this is called an acceleration trilogy, and it will include a Zoom presentation on the equinox. So that'll be our first one, September 22nd, 2022. The first one. The second one will be on the full lunar eclipse in the first week in November. And the last one will be the solstice. So these are also time portals that we'll be working with. And I'm finally going to do a MARC intensive, which is this year, a 3-day workshop in the Netherlands for all of you from all over the world coming to the eastern part of the Netherlands for a 3-day MARC intensive in October 7th through 9th. Again, I don't have it yet on my website, but mark those days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, October 7th through 9th. And that is called You Beyond You. I love the title. So I think that's all I want to tell you about now. So I'm just going to hold a space of that white light quantum time so that we can all lift out of our normal time into that space and then stay there as long as you want and until you want to come back, and have the intention that you're not coming back to exactly the same timeline that you left, but a much improved timeline. So lift, and let's all make the most of this Stargate, of the Lion's Gate, and the acceleration, the upgrades that are happening in the next many months. And let's really support each other together. All right. So close your eyes and feel yourself on an updraft with the eagles. Finding the wind beneath your wings. allowing yourself to lift effortlessly. And you only know you are lifting because the earth gets smaller and smaller. And your sense of you, the higher you, gets stronger and brighter. With every breath, you become easier, lighter, less gravity. And imagine in this upliftment that you lift to a place of beingness beyond the time-space world into the quantum world of the higher dimensions where your spirit resides. And let yourself feel freed. Feel holy, feel whole. You can't hold on to your mind chatter. You can't even hold on to your intentions. As you enjoy your existence in the pure white light of being. And beautiful ones, I'm going to leave you there so that you can stay as long as you want before you go searching through Facebook or whatever. And let yourself gently come back. And notice that the timeline that you pick, the you re-enter, is a little bit clearer, a lot more radiant, looser, happier, and that the earth you land in is a better earth than you took off from. We hold these miraculous outcomes in the power of today, and know that no matter when you listen to it, the energies are there. So thank you and many blessings for your uplifted, magical, uncreated future. Thank you.